it's relocating the knight from the d4 square to either f4 or g3, which later on can help in the sacrificing on the h5 square. Technically, white could have simply just played g takes h6, and then ef, ef, exchanging of the white-colored bishops, and king h8. And here, white is still, it's a lot more favorable for white, but Harikrishna had his own plan. So going back to knight d to e2, black decides to take the f5 pawn. And then white plays knight f4. So here, white is actually not even looking at taking back the pawn. Why? Because he wants to not waste any move and just attack on the king side. Black decides to play king g7, which actually was one of the huge mistakes made by black in this position. He simply could have just played f takes e4. The reason is, if knight takes e4 in this position by white, it's not very good because of knight f3, bishop takes f3, bishop takes e4, and here black now has an extra pawn, and this position can be pretty much survived by black. But see, if f takes e4, knight takes h5, doesn't really work, and I will show you why. Because g takes h5, queen takes h5, king f8, and even in this position, if white plays g6, black simply replies with rook e6. And in this position, black has a big advantage because he's up a piece. Okay, so now we're going to look at why is king g7 a bad move in this position. White simply just plays knight c to d5. He's bringing two of his knights into the center, and also by moving knight c to d5, it's attacking the queen, so moving with a tempo. And of course, in this position, black should think, should he leave those two knights in the center like that, or should he exchange one of them? So then Wely decides to exchange. Knight takes d5, and see, with this exchange, it's beneficial for white because not only does he take back the bishop with his knight with a tempo, but see, now the f file is more open for the rook on f1. So queen takes c2, e takes f5, rook a to c8, and knight f4. So white simply goes back to f4 because now his priority is to actually do the sacrifice on h5. But now there's going to be many threats because of that. Black plays rook h8, and in this position it seems very straightforward because the rook on h8 is protecting the pawn on h5 from any future sacrifices. But see, this move actually turned out to be one of the worst, because now white's two pieces, the bishop and the knight, will relocate to the d5 and the e6 square. Let me show you how that happens. So f takes g6. Sorry, 1 second. F takes g6, f takes g6, knight e6 check, king g8, and bishop d5. So white had many different continuations to win, but bishop d5 is the most accurate one. So black plays queen d2, attacking the bishop on d5. White follows with queen e4, pretty straightforward move. It's protecting the bishop on d5 and also, in the future, keeping pressure on the g6 pawn. Black plays rook c1, really desperate to exchange pieces, thinking that hopefully if he exchanges some pieces, his position won't be as bad, but he's a little bit too late for that. White simply plays rook h to f3, simply protecting the rook on f1, and Van Wely makes the mistake of playing king h1. And before going into the beautiful line of how Harikrishna ended up checkmating a couple of moves later, I want to show what happens if he doesn't decide. Let's just say he decides to play rook takes f1. White simply takes back the rook, rook h7, and knight f8 check. This move wins the game slowly, but at least black doesn't lose as fast. Let me show you a couple of variations. So if so king h8 and knight takes g6. If knight takes g6, which is a bad move, simply queen e8, and this follows to checkmate. If the knight doesn't take on g6, but instead he plays king g7, simply h4 protecting the g5 pawn, and rook h8 doesn't really have much choice. Black doesn't really have much choice. As you can see that the knights are overloaded, which is why simply bishop e6, and if rook e8, bishop takes d7, and white has an extra piece, and he will slowly, actually looking at this position and looking at how vulnerable the black king is, probably he will be checkmated pretty fast enough. Going back to the black's 37th move, king h7. This was followed by a very brilliant tactic. Rook f7, knight takes f7, and queen takes g6. So this move, if king takes g6, of course, this follows with bishop e4 checkmate. This was a very beautiful game by Harikrishna, and I'm very proud to show it to you guys today. And I really hope you guys liked our commentaries of this of this game from Tata Steel, which is pretty recent. And once again, we're really sorry that we didn't go for those specific games that you guys requested. But we decided that the other games were overplayed, so we decided just to do this one. Anyways, I hope you liked it, and please subscribe. Tell your friends about our channel, and thank you for watching. Bye.